Hey Facebook family, I'm here at Simoson and I'm privileged and honored to have Mr. Chaldron Sweeney Mwemba, and he's a local businessman here in Lusaka, and he has brought a story that I think all of us should really pay attention to. In the recent past, all of us have heard the story that's swirling around social media about a farmer who got his entire head of cattle slaughtered. Mwemba, tell us the story. What really happened?
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Moa. Thank you for having me. Good afternoon, Facebook family. I heard about this story from social media when I read one of the social media houses shared to say one of the farmers from southern province had his cattle slaughtered. So I followed the story and called a few people from southern province that I know, and they confirmed to me that it was true. So based on that, we made a follow-up to make sure that we trace the owner of the animals so that we can get the true picture of what was on the ground. So after a few calls, we managed to get through to the owner of the animals, who is Mr. Keme Hantumbe.
And he's sitting next to you right now, isn't he?
He's seated next to me. Right?
This is Mr. Keme
Hantumbe. Yes.
But Keme, welcome to Simoson, and we are very happy that you're here to tell your side of the story. But before I get to you, I want him to finish what you're saying. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you so much. So when we got through to Mr. Keme Hantumbe, we invited him over to Lusaka. Or maybe let me say, I invited him over to my place. A few friends were not of the idea because we did not know each other with these people, and maybe it was going to be dangerous. But I had to do what I had to do to make sure that the man came through to Lusaka. So after we did that, Mr. Keme Hantumbe came through to Lusaka. That was on Saturday morning, after working through to get to him for 3 days. When he got through to Lusaka with his brother, Mr. Muchindu, I discovered that the man was seriously psychologically disturbed. When you looked at him, if you look at him, you would think that maybe he lost the entire family. You know, it was animals. So we decided to go into prayers with him. So we did some praying together. I'm a Seventh-day Adventist. So on a Saturday when they came in the morning, I was at church. In the afternoon, I received them and I took them to church in the afternoon so that we can do a bit of some prayers. And after that, we sat down so that I could get the true story of what happened. He explained to me to say, Mr. Keme Hantumbe decided to migrate from Gwembe district and Pemba district so that he can settle in Mumba. And the reasons were very simple. He is a farmer. In the previous rain season, he did not perform well because the rains were not so good. So based on that, he found a very good farm in Mumba, and the rainfall pattern is quite okay in that area. So behind, he left his firstborn son and his family. He's a responsible married man to one wife with 32 dependents. So the people he left behind in the hands of his eldest son decided to migrate in his absence because the plan was already there before he left Pemba district. So one of these good days, this gentleman, who happens to be his firstborn, decided to lead his family to Mumba district.
With the cattle?
With the cattle. They carried the cattle, the sheep, the goats, and they had donkeys as well.
How many cattle did they move with?
32 cattle, and they had 12 sheep and 11 goats. So after that happened, on their way, because they tried to get in touch with the father was unreachable. So they started off late in the afternoons of a particular day. So when they got through to Macha from Pemba district, the son and the rest of the family members who were escorting the son met with the vet officers and other people, the neighborhood, those people that are in charge of helping the police in the outskirts. So after doing that, the animals in the son to Mr. Keme Hantumbe were held
by the vet
people.
officers.
Yes.
What was the vet officers? What was their concern?
Their concern was that there is a ban in Southern Province because there's an outbreak of foot and mouth disease. So because of that, animals are not allowed to, farmers are not allowed to move their animals from one district to another.
So why did they move their animals?
These people were very ignorant about the whole exercise because according to them, they didn't know anything about the ban. These are people that live deep in the village of Pemba district and Gwembe, right at the edge of the boundary that is separating Gwembe district and Pemba district. And he was under Chief Moyo. So you see, I asked him a very interesting question. When last did you visit Lusaka? He told me that he last visited Lusaka 4 years ago. And when you listen to that, you can understand to say these are people who are serious living in the village and they have little business in town. So if you don't come up with a proper system to sensitize them on any development that is coming in the district, they will not get to know.
They won't know.
Yes.
But what about the chiefs, the headmen? Don't they know? Don't they sensitize their people?
Okay, on that one, it is quite difficult because maybe if the systems that we use to disseminate information in our districts, if we don't involve the chiefs, the village headmen, it will be difficult for information to get down to the people on the ground. So in short, we can say that these people were ignorant about what was happening.
So they didn't know?
They didn't know.
So when the vets confiscated, got a hold of the animals, what did the vets say?
Okay, the vet officers told these people to say, your animals are supposed to be killed. And at that point, the family had to call the owner of the animals, who happens to be Mr. Keme Hantumbe. And Mr. Keme Hantumbe was not reachable. So they tried to get in touch with people who were near him, and they got hold of him at the time. So he came through to Macha. And when he got there, he was told that Mr. Keme, there is nothing we can do. There is no compromise on this matter. Your animals are going to be slaughtered, and not anywhere, just here. And that was in Macha. The animals were just somewhere near the mortuary, you see. And the most sad part is that at the time they were slaughtering the animals, other people were even removing bodies, bodies to go and bury. And this man came, he cried, begged the officers to test the animals before they can slaughter them. He said, it's okay, I cannot fight the law. If the law is there, and please just help me by testing my animals so that I can be sure that my animals are infected. So they said, no, we cannot do that. So they slaughtered the animals.
So what you're saying is that he begged the vets to test them,
Yes.
if the animals were healthy.
Yes.
But in the event that they were healthy, what was the recourse? What did the vets do? They let you take the animals back, or by law, are they supposed to slaughter the animals?
Okay. According to what I know myself, with the experience that I've had for so many years in the business of animals from Southern Province, foot and mouth disease is a very dangerous disease. So every year when this disease came, sensitization would be done in areas, and as a farmer, if you get to know that there is a ban, you don't move your animals.
Yes.
Now, in a situation where your animals are not infected, there is no law that allows anyone to slaughter your animals because there is no need to do that. So looking at the whole drama in the situation, there was so much unfairness.
So they slaughtered the animals,
They slaughtered
killed
them.
all of them.
All of them.
What happened to the meat?
Okay. After slaughtering the animals, this is something very interesting. They slaughtered the animals and mentioned to say, after slaughtering them, they were now ready to test the animals. So they tested the animals and said, if the animals are okay, we're going to auction the meat. And they did auction the meat and sold the meat, the beef for over, I think, 21,000. The beef the goats and the sheep, putting all of them together, just imagine, 32 animals, those are cows. 32 cows, then you come to the sheep, you come to 28 goats. The sheep were 11, the goats were 28. All those animals were sold, and all together they auctioned them at 21,000 kwacha only. And after doing that, they told the owners of the animals to say, we are going to give you only 30% of what we are going to get.
Really?
From the sellers. Yes. And when that happened, the owners of the animals were very disturbed. Very, very
I can imagine. I can imagine.
To a level where he had completely nothing to do. The journey to Mumbwa was cancelled. The brother, the good brother, Mr. Muchindu, decided to take them to Chikanta in Kalomo district. That is where he's squatting at the moment. Even at a time when we invited him to come over to Lusaka, he was still squatting with Mr. Muchindu.
So you're saying to date, they have not been given any money from the auction of the meat?
They haven't.
Okay. So now Mr. Keme, is here in Lusaka with you. What do you want to see? What is your appeal to the public?
Okay. My humble appeal to the public is that Mr. Keme Hantumbe needs help. He needs help from all of us.
Yeah.
You see, in such situations, we need to show love to one another. He is our brother. And such a thing can happen to any one of us.
Anybody, yeah.
Yeah, the reason why I actually thought of pursuing this course is because he acted out of ignorance.
Yeah.
And I also know that ignorance has no defense.
No defense.
According to law.
Yes. Because the law is the law.
Law is the law.
Yes. But the situation,
Yeah.
is what it is.
You are very right.
Yeah.
So based on that, I'm appealing to my fellow young people in the country to please start contributing. You can pay through Airtel Money using 0972676833. This number is registered in the name of Mr. Muchindu, the brother, because Mr. Hantembe's NRC is still with the police. That is in Chonya district. And we've opened an account today in his name for transparency reasons. You are able to deposit the money in the Zanaco account, which we are going to continue sharing, and we hope Mr. Mwewa is also going to help us share the account number.
I will. I certainly will. And now this is very, very important, and I appreciate you saying what you said, because you've cleared the air on the story surrounding this issue. Because we heard just I think yesterday or the day before that the man who slaughtered the cows had died. Is that true?
That is not true.
That's not true.
That is not true.
Yeah, and social media being what it is, that'll be a spin-off. Everybody's going to be talking about the person who slaughtered the cows was bewitched, and nothing like that happened.
Nothing like that.
Yes.
In fact, the way it is, the person who died, the vet officer who died, is from Namwara district. Namwara district is not under Chonya district.
Yes.
The boss for vet officers, who is responsible, to give orders on such an issue, is someone who is in the provincial town, which is Chonya. And that man, he's a doctor. He's still very much alive in Chonya. The man who died in Namwara district, he was involved in an accident in the recent past, so he was ill already.
Yeah.
He's not anywhere connected to it.
Yes, but social media has somehow tethered it.
Social media.
Yeah.
And this is what we always talk about. Let us be using social media, towards positive things that are going to impact people's lives.
Yes.
So in this case, I want to emphasize on this because the man is already traumatized, and it's not fair for people to start using social media by saying, they have already killed one officer, they've already what. I've seen comments, a number of comments on social media. Please, people, let us calm down and reflect. And in fact, I also want to appeal to people who are holding serious offices, the Minister of Lusaka, Mr. Bowman or something. This man is here in your province.
Yes.
Please, if there's something you can do, help him.
Yeah.
There's a mayor in this city, Mr. Mao Sampa. If you can do something, help him.
Yeah.
We have over 156 members of parliament across the country. They come right here in Lusaka to attend parliament. They can help this man if they have something. We have citizens, a lot of over 17 million citizens, and out of that, we have a very good number that is on social media. People can contribute as low as 1 kwacha, 10 kwacha,
Just to help him.
Just to help him.
Yes.
It can make a difference.
Yeah.
If you contribute, you will be saving a life. Because this man is money. That is what we can say.
Everything he owned was
Everything
invested in those animals.
Yes.
Yeah.
For so many years.
Yeah.
It is not a joke.
Yeah, yeah.
It's not a joke.
Now, there's something I want you to also talk about, which is very, and I know you mentioned it.
Okay.
You are not saying that people should break the law. What you're saying is, you know, in this case, they were simply ignorant. They didn't know about this ban.
Yes.
Hence the move or the attempt to migrate.
Yes.
Okay. So what you're saying is they suffered the consequences of that ignorance, but we are now in a new position to help him, to assist him, and his brother, isn't it? Is that his brother over
Yes,
there?
yes.
That's the brother there.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So my brother, we are going to do everything we can to get the word out. Okay. And is there something that he would like to say to the public?
Yes.
Mr. Kemme?
Maybe I can ask him.
Yes, ask him please.
Hena kuli chomwenda kwamba ule anza chomwenda kulomba kuteka tubambira.
Mevondiromba uti zvintu hiba hyakakwa hyajaikwa uyina hyakamanini navana vangu vaire kuchara kupenga mukuyenovo so ndiromba rukwayo muri vovo
Gwamana.
ko ndiromba rukwayo vya ndukwayo vakulomba kama uchinyina chimbi chejisi egorera pona.
Okay.
Mr. Kemme Hantumbe says his animals were slaughtered and they are gone. He's appealing to members of the public to come on board and help him. He says he has children that go to school, but as things stand, they are not going to school because he has completely nothing. And he's appealing to every one of us to contribute so that we can get him back on his feet.
On his feet, yes.
That is his appeal. And brothers and sisters, let us share the love and help this man. And these are things we have to be doing. Everything we own belongs to the Lord.
Yes.
Everything is in vain that we live for in this world. So if you can extend to help a brother in need, you'll be preparing your place in heaven.
Yeah.
So thank you so much. Mr.
Absolutely. No, thank you. We will do what we can here, but I urge the public to help our brother, because what he has lost, cattle to him would be like property to me.
Oh yeah.
If someone demolished my house, or that is what he's feeling. Okay, I don't own cattle, but to him, everything that he owns, everything that is about him was vested in those animals.
Oh,
yeah. So when he lost that, he basically lost his livelihood. Yeah, and we can identify with that because that to him, that's cattle. To us, it's property. Yeah. No, we will do what we can. And brother, thank you so much for being obedient to the Lord. And I think this is going to help him. I really do. I think this is really going to help our brother and put him back on his feet.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And just finally, Mr. Moa, to thank you. I would like to personally thank you for the good work you're doing.
Well, thank you. That's very kind.
I sat down to look at people who can stand as a voice for the voiceless. And I thought I could come to Simpson Building. I have never met you. I just see you on social media. The good works you're doing.
Well, thank you.
Keeps Lusaka clean,
Well,
keeps
thank
Zambia clean. That is really good. And because of the good work, such an important issue has come, and your works attracted me to come to your office. And there was no appointment that I made with you. When I got there, you welcomed me. You could have I told your secretary to say no. Let him make an appointment because that is what people do.
Yeah.
But because of your humility, may God bless you, and
Well,
I'm
thank
so
you.
much humbled.
Thank you, brother. That's very kind of you to say. Thank you, and
you so much.
we'll do what we can to help him. It is well. It is well. It is well. Amen. Great. Thank you so much.
Thank you.